Alrighty, we're at the last bit of chapter 15. The excitement never ends. We're hitting the end of Reconstruction, which means we soon move into star-tested material. Yay! Alright. So, you have a depression in 1873, kind of a global crisis, triggered in part by the Northern Pacific Railroad declaring bankruptcy. So crop prices are going to fall, iron manufacturing is going to fall by 50%, half of the railroads are bankrupt, and construction of new railways is going to stop. You have Republican policies in the South that become too expensive, for example, the Freedmen's Bureau. Northern and foreign investors no longer have the money to ensure successive reforms. Corruption in industries is increasing. You have failure of the Freedmen's Saving and Trust Company, which was established in 1865. It had worked to help former slaves, new churches, and charities in the South. They had some risky investments in the Depression, which is going to lead to the bank's failure, which means those people are no longer getting the assistance they previously had gotten. Revolt is going to emerge within the Republican Party, and it's going to be led by classical liberals who advocate free trade, smaller government, and limited voting rights. They formed the Liberal Republican Party in 1872. The second Grant administration, so Ulysses S. Grant gets reelected, is going to have numerous financial scandals, including the Credit Mobilier scandal. So basically, these railroad owners are going to set up a sham corporation. So the people who own the Union Pacific Railroad, they're going to set up a sham corporation, one that doesn't really exist. And then they're going to put out... they're going to apply for jobs through the government and get grants through the government, basically to profit off the government and on these grants. So they're setting up this fake organization to get the construction bids and whatnot on their own railroads, so therefore they will make the money off of it. So, yeah, not the best. So Credit Mobilier. All right. This right here is Nathan Bedford Forrest, kind of creepy looking guy right there. And you have your members of the KKK illustrated there. You have efforts by ex-Confederates who are trying to take the South back from the Republican Party, and they are going to get worse as the economy gets worse. You have a terror campaign in which black politicians and white supporters are hanged. They are beaten to death and they are shot. Nathan Bedford Forrest was a decorated Confederate general. He was born poor and he becomes a big-time slave trader who gains wealth through the cotton industry. He is known for participating in the slaughter of black Union troops at Fort Pillow, Tennessee. So that's his legacy. God bless the people who related to him. So the KKK is going to, it emerges originally towards the end of the Civil War. You have an organization of ex-Confederates who are going to join together in 1866. It is led by Nathan Bedford Forrest in Tennessee to target Republicans in that state. It's going to be tied to the Democratic Party. And basically it's a campaign of murder and terror throughout the South to try and go back to the way life was. Congress is going to pass laws to control the spread of violence. U.S. troops are going to occupy parts of South Carolina to stop the outbreak of violence. The Republican Party starts to suffer political losses in the South as this fear and this violence increases. And they will just go around killing black people because they're black. They'll have a resurgence, so they'll dry off for a little bit. I think in the 1870s. They'll have a resurgence after Birth of a Nation in the early 1900s, which is a film. And then they'll kind of resurface again during the Civil Rights Movement. They don't ever really go away. They just have times in history where they are a lot more obvious. All right, so 1873, we have the slaughterhouse cases. The court is going to diminish the power of the 14th Amendment by arguing that it offers only a few federal protections. So civil rights violations are viewed as state issues, not within the federal government's jurisdiction. So the 1883 court is going to strike down the Civil Rights Act of 1875, so now it really means nothing. Governor Rutherford B. Hayes from Ohio versus Governor Samuel Tilden of New York in 1877. Tilden is going to call for home rule for the South. Florida, South Carolina, and Louisiana are the only states still ruled by Reconstruction governments. Tilden is going to lead the popular vote, but the Democratic Party claims from fraud. The Republicans are going to call the 3 states as electoral victories for Hayes. Democrats are going to claim victory in the 3 states for Tilden. Congress had to debate 2 sets of electoral votes for the 3 states. The commission's going to appoint 8 Republicans, 7 Democrats, and the commission is obviously going to give Hayes the presidency because he is the Democrat. Hayes offers federal money for education, economic growth, internal improvements in the South, and he is going to order the Union troops out of the South, and Reconstruction will officially end. There are secret talks agreeing to a pacification of the South. Hayes publicly indicates his desire to offer federal money for education, economic growth, and internal improvements. Oh, I just said all that. Sorry about that. But anyway, this is when Reconstruction ends. So 1877 with Hayes coming into the presidency. So he sends them some money and then pulls all the troops out. And this is when things are going to really get worse in the South as far as discrimination and discrimination in general, segregation, that kind of stuff. So we'll start to see more things that will be affected by that. So that is the end of chapter 15. We will move into chapter 16 soon. And that is going to be kind of the westward movement and whatnot. So I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever time you are listening to this, and I will see or speak to you soon. Bye.